It's here at long last, the first of 2 PC ports for Twilight Princess. This one, the Dusk Twilight Princess PC port by the Twilit Realm .dev team. These guys have done a very good job of their PC port. It has a lot of features that you wouldn't expect or believe from various upgrades here and there, and also supports texture packs, which all will be done in this tutorial today. We're going to tell you how to 1. Install it on Windows, 2. How to install texture packs on Windows, and 3. How to install on Android devices. These are all very important for how you want to play this game, and this very great PC port allows you to do them all. It also does one thing very particular, which is interpolation. What does interpolation mean? It doesn't mean frame generation or anything like that from DLSS's root of evil. What it means instead is it sets a fixed tick rate for all the physics and objects and game logic to be directly towards native, and then it allows the game to render at whatever frame rate you want while keeping all game logic solid. So it is not, I repeat, it is not creating any fake frames or anything like that. It is rendering them all as proper real frames, but it keeps the original logic of the original Twilight Princess GameCube game. With that out of the way, let's get into the tutorial. First of all, you want to go to twilitrealm.dev, which you can get in the link in the description below, or you can get it from the Dusk official release YouTube page. Once you are there, on the very main page there is a giant download for Windows or download for other platforms. For our purposes today, click on the download for Windows. It will download the zip file that contains all of the Dusk Reborn files. The other platforms will take you to a GitHub page that has the files for Android, iOS, Linux, macOS, and of course Windows. We're not going to be focusing on this for a little bit, and we probably won't need to focus on it at all, because the way this website works is if you come to this website using, say, an Android device, it'll pop up with the Android download link, and I assume it does the same for macOS and for Linux. Once you have downloaded this, you'll get a zip file like this, which you then just extract into a folder that you want to extract into, and it'll give you a dusk.exe. We're going to open that up, and it'll give us our base file for it right now. There's some interesting background stuff and a select disk image option. It's at this point where I have to stress that I cannot provide you with any ROMs of any caliber from anything because of Nintendo legal reasons. I repeat, I cannot provide ROMs. You then select your Twilight Princess ROM. It has to be the USA or Europe GameCube version of the game. It does not currently support the Wii version or Japanese versions at this stage in time. Once you have done this, it will ask you to choose a preset between Classic and Dusk. These are just settings tweaks that have been already selected by the developer that you can select yourself later on in the settings menu. It is perfectly fine. You can choose whichever you want. I recommend the Dusk option because, let's be real, we're playing the PC port and we want to play the better version of the game. In the settings menu, we can find a few things such as the renderer. Do we want to render at DirectX 12 or using Vulkan? Now this will help with compatibility with various things, including on Linux and macOS, where I believe you need to use Vulkan because they have better compatibility than DirectX 12. In the video tab, we have our lock aspect ratio to 4:3, which is how this game was originally intended. We can show our FPS counter, and very importantly, the internal resolution that the game is rendering at. I recommend using 3x, which is 1824 by 1344. That's because the monitor I use at home is a 1440p monitor, which is 2560 by 1440p, which means this gets us closest to that base rendering rate. It can go all the way up to 12x, which is 8K, 7296 by 5376. Note these are 4:3 aspect ratios, so they are a little bit harder for you to quickly they devise what they are. FreeX is also above 1080p but below 1440p. It's kind of a weird spot there, but it works for our circumstances. Moving on, we then have our bloom, which comes in 3 variants: classic, off, and dusk. Classic being, of course, how the bloom looks in the original base game. Dusk, how the Dusk team believes the bloom should look. And lastly, off, which just removes the bloom altogether. You can also adjust the intensity and the brightness of the bloom, but it's very slow to change as you can only change it 1% at a time at this stage in time. Next, we have enable depth of field and enable minimap shadows. Now, minimap shadows did cause various performance issues on the GameCube way back when. It may cause some performance issues here. It's personally up to you what you want to do here. Depth of field definitely does cause performance issues, but not noticeable, at least to my eyes. What it mainly does is creates blur in the distance at a certain set distance from the camera, which sometimes bugs out, so I prefer to have depth of field off when I play. Moving on, we have the inputs, which allows us to configure our controller for however we want the controller layout to be. We can also turn on the free camera. This free camera gives us access to the second stick on our controller to control the camera. This is very useful because it makes it a lot easier to see. Next, we have gyro input method. If your controller supports gyro, this should work when you turn gyro aim on based on the sensors inside the controller itself. You can also swap this from sensor to mouse, which means it will use your mouse inputs for various looking around the game. However, you also have to then put in the controller configurations, left click to use button on X or left click to use button on Y, so that way you can actually shoot with your mouse. Next, we have audio. We can enable reverb, spatial audio, and Dusk main menu audio. We can also keep Minda's Lament playing when enemies show up. Very important, so we don't have that noise going on. You can also turn off low HP sounds if you so wish. Next, we have gameplay, where we can activate mirror mode, which makes it look like the Wii version, where everything gets swapped from left to right, because Link is normally left-handed, but in the Wii version, they expected people to be right-handed. So they swapped the whole game, literally mirrored it, so that way right-handed people could swing their sword. It was a weird fix to it, but that's how it is. They also have minimal HUD, which literally turns the HUD off when you're playing. I couldn't really see any instances where the HUD stayed on when I had it on before for testing, but that is what that does. It just turns HUD off so you can have like a truly atmospheric experience with no HUD just blocking up the whole view, which is great for screenshots and pictures of gameplay. Next, you have restore Wii 1.0 glitches. I'm not entirely sure what these glitches are, as I'm not expert in the field. We then have enable rotating link dull using the C stick. I just put that on for fun. You can also adjust the difficulty by adjusting how much damage you take. Instant death, removing heart drops, and then we have quality of life changes. If you select the Dusk preview, all of these will be on by default. These include bigger wallet, disable Ruby cutscenes, faster climbing, faster tears of light, autosave, instant saves, hold B for instant text. This one is off by default. You can turn this on if you are going through the game for a second time, or if you just don't care about the story at all. Just hold down B and it skips all of the dialogue. It is actually quite fantastic. I used it quite a bit when I was testing out the game. No climbing miss animation, no rupee returns, no sword recall, which means when you hit the wall, your sword would bounce back. With this on, your sword won't bounce back when you hit the wall. Very useful and stops you having these lag delays where you swing the sword and you can't really do nothing with it. No second fish for cat. This means you don't have to get 2 fishes for the cat, so you can get the slingshot at the beginning of the game. Sudden stun by holding down R plus X turns it from night to day to night, just like in the original Ocarina of Time. Quick transform, R plus Y, which will allow you to quickly transform from Wolf Link to normal Link at rate. And then of course we have speedrunning mode, which changes all of the defaults to be accurate to the GameCube version. Moving on, we then have the cheats menu, which has a variety of cheats, including infinite hearts, arrows, bombs, oil, oxygen, ruby, timer. We then have moon jump, which allows you to jump over obstacles, super claw shot that allows you to claw shot from any distance, regardless of what claw shot you're doing. Always a great spin, which makes your spin attack a lot easier to do. Fast iron boots allows you to run really fast on iron boots like you didn't have iron boots on at all. Transform anywhere allows you to transform to wolf link anywhere you want. Fast spinner, which allows the spinner item you get later on to always be going fast. This is very useful. And free magic armor, which removes the rupee cost for the magic armor you get from the little kid merchant later in the game. Lastly, we have interface, which allows us to skip the Dusk main menu, which goes straight to the game when you open up the dusk.exe. Once the ISO has been selected, show pipeline compilation shows when various textures get loaded, deloaded, stuff like that. Check for updates the game. The Dusk launcher when the update is found. Pause on focus loss, which means if you click off the window, the game will pause. Enable advanced settings. Now this is very useful for when we need to do texture replacement later on. If you turn this on, it allows you an extra option by pressing Shift F1, and we can do some various things inside that menu later on. Keep this in mind for later. Skip TV screen, which is the one that allows you to say adjust your CRT TV so that way it is inside the square of the game. This is an old analog issue that most people don't have to deal with because we use digital inputs these days. Lastly, of course, recording mode, which also disables the game HUD and all background music, which is useful for recording footage, much like the minimal HUD preset in the gameplay setting. Alright, that's all of the settings in this game. We can now hit play and it'll automatically launch the game. That's how you do it for the Windows side. Now for the Android side, this is a very similar process. First, you want to go to twilight.realms.dev on your Android device. It will then give you a download link for Android. You just click that and it will download a .apk file for your phone or iPad. Next, you're going to want to drag your ROM files onto your phone into a location where you can easily find. Once you have found this location, you then need to just open up your dusk.version 1.000 Android APK file. It will install Dusk. Once Dusk is installed, you just open it up and then you select your disk image, pointing it to wherever your ROM file may be on your phone. I got my ROM file from my PC. It was easy to transfer it over that way. And then you can select your Dusk and classic settings just like in the main computer version. These settings are exactly the same on the Dusk Android version and the PC version. You'll notice it fits perfectly into the Android phone settings, and if you have a Bluetooth controller connected, it will just automatically find that controller and work just normally. Lastly, it is time for installing texture packs. To install texture packs, you're going to want to go back to your Windows version, dusk.exe, go to the settings, go to interface, head to enable advanced settings, press Shift F1, you'll then get a tools and debug option, head up to the tools setting and then go open data folder. This will open the data folder in the app data roaming Twilit Realm Dusk. In here there is a folder called texture replacement. We're going to want to open this folder and we're then going to drag our textures into this folder itself. Note these texture files have to be .dds files. PNG texture files do not work. I tried to get a Ocarina of Time link texture file added to the game, and because it was a PNG version, it did not work. So they have to be DDS files at this stage of the game. Now, where you want to get these files from, currently they are unavailable due to too many downloads going on. You can get them from henricomagnificos.com, which has a Zelda Twilight Princess 4K texture pack. They look incredibly beautiful in the image displays. However, when you go to the Google Drive download and try to download them at this current time, this may change for you in the future, it will say download quota exceeded for this file. You cannot download it at present. So I then went for an alternative version of this, which was this GitHub here, which was intended to be a smaller file size for the Zelda Twilight Princess. This is a 720p texture pack rather than a 1080p or 4K texture pack that would be found normally. And this is also from a long time ago, 2020, October 19th. This is for the 1.05_0. Currently they're up to 3.0, so it is quite a long time ago, 6 years ago, but it'll work for our tutorial today. We go to we then download this zip file here. We then grab the DDS files out of it and paste them into the texture replacement folder. And to find out if this works, once they have been fully transferred, you hit the play button, press the start button on your controller, and if it comes up with The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess 4K with textures by Henrico Magnifico in your start menu right here, that's how you know the texture files did replace correctly. Now, of course, these are 720p. They are not the highest quality texture replacement files as we could possibly get today, but this is the best I could do for this video to give the tutorial to show you how it works. Next, we're going to head to the Android and install these texture files. Alright, try as I might, I could not find how to install a texture pack to the Android Dusk version. I even plugged the keyboard in, went to the developer settings to try and find where the files were saved. Could not find it. Looked through every single folder on the internal shared storage of the Red Magic 9S Pro that I own, and I could not find it. So, Dusk installed somewhere? I don't know. And I could work out how to change the texture files there, unfortunately, but it still works perfectly fine as an Android port. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, give it a like, give a subscribe over on the YouTube. If you're over on Twitch, give it a follow. All these things help the channel grow and grow and grow. And the channel grows, the content gets better. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Bye bye.